What's going on? My name is Tyson McGuffin. This is the McGuffin Show. We are back. It's been too long. This is episode 37. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Bemer Therapy. Get over to my website, click the sponsor link and see what Bemer is all about. If you want to live until you're about 150, and if you want to wake up feeling a little fresher and not feeling like a train hit you, you should definitely check out Bemer Therapy today. Okay, Mack, you know, it's been a couple weeks here, man. So you've been on the road.
Yeah,
I mean, geez, 3 weeks
I've
away.
Been pulling a Tyson. Yeah,
right.
I was gone for like 3 weeks in a row. It's normally, you know, I travel a lot, but normally it's like 1 week at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
Been a while since we've done one of these. A lot of tourneys, a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot has happened.
There's always a bunch of stuff going on.
I mean, you know what? That new Sports Illustrated article, it's got a lot of heat in there. Don't know how much credit there is behind that, even though it is Sports Illustrated. For sure. Who in the hell is John Walker? Who is
the infamous?
Who is Neil?
No, he's dropping some heat. There's some good drama in there.
He's dropping a little heat.
Like you said, it's tough to know how much of it's verified, but I imagine a certain percentage, high-end journalists like that, they got to cross their T's, dot their I's to some degree, I would imagine. But
there's a lot of.
What did you think of it?
I think there's swords fighting, and there's we're all trying to find our path, and there's competing tours and competing Hall of Fames and competing certifications and competing camp. I mean, honest, it goes on and on and on. Competing ranking systems. I mean, come on. We need to have just one outlet.
For sure. I mean, I think he hit the nail on the head to some degree. A little bit of a money grab right now. A lot of people in pickleball, outside pickleball, are realizing like it's time to establish yourself and be dominant. But yeah, I think, and maybe we're too much in the world, but I think more about the competition between the tours. He got a lot into the backstory with the different organizations.
Pardo waving that check. Right. You want your $400? I mean,
painted quite a picture there.
Well, yeah. And there was plenty of statements from Pardo, so I would assume that he probably did know that the article was going to go that direction. I mean,
yeah, it's probably one of those things where he gives him about 100 quotes, and the ones that he uses are the ones that doesn't make him look too good.
No, I mean, you can spin it however you want.
I'm curious to see.
That's why you got
to
be tricky. I mean, you got to be careful with that stuff. Details about episode 37. We're going to talk about U.S. Open. I know it's a little late. We're just going to touch on it. NC Open, ATL, French Open, UFC. Got some new merch, ways to follow me, upcoming camps, and a new instructional video that got pushed out yesterday. And it is called Using Too Much Wrist on Your Drops. Don't be using too much wrist.
Don't use the wrist. Come on.
Don't use
Lock
the wrist.
That baby up.
Lock that baby up. And something we talked about in that video was, if you weren't positioned correctly in the court, maybe you're looking to see how pretty your serve is, and you step inside the court and you end up hitting a third ball as you're inside the court, and the return gets on you too quick. We touched on you tend to use your wrist too much when you're unorganized, when you're not balanced, when you're in the wrong position, when you get jammed. Plain and simple, if you're not comfortable on the court, or if you get reaching, chasing trash, it's very natural to want to start compensating with your wrist.
Sure. How much of pickleball is just preparation, right? Like
prep.
Getting in that perfect spot to keep your percentages high. Like so much of it is that in a variety of shots. It's crazy.
It's true. Okay, Mack, how much when you're leading camps, how much do you talk about prep and getting organized and,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's something I definitely touch on. I think it's something I could probably bring up even more. But I mean, I think, when we're teaching clinics, we're dealing with people of different levels, different grips.
Management.
The one thing you can always focus on is your balance and getting in the right position to hit the ball.
Full control of that.
It's always a little dicey. I don't like changing people's grips too much in a 2-day setting. It usually gets a lot worse before it gets pretty. But you can always harp on people about getting in the right position. Again, it gets a little dicier when somebody's 70 years old and had a hip replacement, telling them, all right, Susan, get lower.
Get low. Sit your ass down. You're not athletic enough. So it was that
stop standing up there. But no, it's definitely a universal tip that we can all benefit from.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting topic. Over a 2-day camp, campers are paying $700. Are we going to change their grip? I would assume other camp businesses out there, like when you have somebody for 2 or 3 days, trying to make that change is the toughest game, or is the toughest change in racket sports. For sure. Whether it's, tennis, pickle. Obviously, I'm not very educated with other racket sports, but I would assume it's just plain and simple. It's a tough It's a tough change. I know I really don't play with it. We'll obviously talk about there's various concrete details with various grips. You know, like even if you are in like a full Western grip, or you're in Continental, or maybe you're in Eastern, you're still using big body parts, using your shoulder. You know, big body parts don't break down, things like that. But yeah, I mean, to try to make that change and have that person like be able to have fun throughout the camp after that, and work on various drills and like compete, and to pay that amount as they're worried about their grip, like that's an uphill battle. I usually don't touch it. I would assume you don't.
No, I don't either. I mean, sometimes I'll do is if I see like a grip or something funky that's really holding somebody back, I will make them aware of it, and then usually give them like a couple of choices. Say, hey, long term, if you slid the grip over, you know, it would give you this and this, which would help you.
Here's the pros and cons.
Here's another potential option. Long term, I would suggest changing it, but you're right. They're going to have a terrible experience if day 1, 2 hours in, you're switching their grip over. The rest of the camp is going to be a little bit dicey. Teachers, tread lightly when it comes to grip change, unless it's going to be a student that you're going to have for a few months.
Exactly,
right. If you're going to be working with them regularly, then yeah, it's time to add in some of those long-term things.
For sure.
In a 2-day setting, it'd be risky. For sure.
Right. I remember, you know, when I was working at a club and teaching pickle lessons and stuff like that. Yeah, if I had a student in like a 4-week session, you know, I saw him every Monday, you know, 8 to 10 or whatever, then I'm gonna make a grip change. But and obviously give them some homework that they can take home, or drills that they can take home to actually work on that grip change. But yeah, to try to do it over a 2-day camp with lots of people, everybody's competing, everybody's trying to get to core 1, you know. You know how it is.
Well, that's the other reason why I like sometimes giving them a couple of choices too, because if you just hammer it down their throat, like, yep, you need to switch your grip over, and you're not really giving them the choice, it's extra deflating, and sometimes they can fight you a little bit more. But I'll say, okay, you can go this route, here are the pros and cons. You can go this route, here are the pros and cons, and kind of let them decide which route they want to do. And if they're making the choice, I think they're more committed to understanding that there's an implementation dip. It's going to get ugly before it gets pretty. For sure. Just a different approach.
Range of acceptability. And for all you, you know, players out there that are taking lessons, if you're working, and not to downgrade coaches at all, but if you're working with somebody that is telling you this is the way, you have to do it this way, there's no other way, there's something very wrong there. For sure. You take a look at the highest level, there's so many different ways to hold the grip. There's so many different ways to play the game. This one-way, one-dimensional outlook, for me, that's definitely not my teaching style. That's not any of my coaches' teaching style, and I don't believe that makes sense in the game of pickleball. Tennis, there's one way. There is one way, and it takes a long freaking time to understand that way. For sure. And that's why there's one way, because it's so complex. Golf, there's one way, right? Right. But we're kind of going off on a tangent here. Okay, U.S. Open. There was some new improvements, even though it is just the same old venue. You know,
they added some more courts, right?
Yeah, for sure. They added some more courts. There's like a little. They added a viewing building in like the middle of the facility, kind of in like the back batch, and there was restrooms and showers and stuff like that. And Chris and Terry, the tournament directors, are walking around and greeting everybody. So, yeah, fun tournament. Pickleballchannel.com does a great job always with their coverage. I always think the coverage is high quality, and they always make sure to get all the coverage there on center court. Obviously, that very last day, it had rained pretty much all week long in Naples. So that very last day, most of the coverage was on the back batch on courts like 48 and like above, because it had rained Saturday night, and when we came in Sunday to finish the mixed day, center court was just soaked. So we had to play on those back courts, and Pickleball Channel kind of got set up back there. But
so with all that rain, was it just extra
soggy? Soggy.
Extra soggy. Playing some swamp ball.
Stupid Franklin ball and just gator weather, gator fences. Gator fences.
Swamp pickleball.
I mean, my gosh. But the cool thing was that on the back batch, there was a pro lounge. So they did a better job, obviously, after talking to PPA with taking care of the pros. Nice. There was a Skechers Pro Club in which I was chilling in. Lots of good snacks and drinks, and the Skechers crew was there. Skechers was the main title sponsor. So
that was the first tournament they did that.
For sure. Nice. Got lots of love there. They actually were the title sponsor last year as well. They added a bit more to it this year. But yes, we had the Skechers Lounge. We had the little pro lounge back on the back batch. And, I mean, I don't know how many players there was. I think 2,500 or 2,800. I mean, the place was packed.
It's bigger and bigger every year.
Freaking packed. Hot, windy, humid. Franklin ball, bring it on, baby. Yeah. Defense at its finest. If you don't know how to play defense, you will not be successful in Naples.
Do you do anything different with your fitness preparation when you know you're going to Florida? I mean, I know you're pretty rigid all the time. Do you train differently knowing when you're going there?
Yeah, well, I think, obviously getting used to the ball a couple weeks early, sure. That's kind of a start. Lots of hydration, lots of IVs, and I usually try to get there 3 or 4 days early.
Get acclimated.
I would assume that I'm usually the first one there, over the last, not this year, but over the last, I guess 3 years, and the 3 years that I did well and made a final, I got there Wednesday, singles started Sunday. So I was more than prepared. 2 years ago,
you and Frank, right?
Yeah, right. 2 years ago, I mean, literally, Frankie and I got there Wednesday night. We played like 30 games of singles over Thursday through Saturday, showed up Sunday and balled out. So I'm not going to put that on my loss this year. I showed up like a day and a half early, and I thought I practiced well. I just did not play well the day of singles. But so I had the fam with me the whole week. Had my mom and babies and stuff like that. Always a great time taking the fam to.
And you had a little bit of a break between singles and dubs, right? So you guys
it seemed like a month. Right? Yeah,
I mean, we had to do some real family.
We had Monday through Thursday. Yeah, so it was nice.
It's
such a weird
schedule.
week. Yeah, and I'm not gonna play split age for to hang out and be around.
It's a long day.
Oh, I mean, God, and I mean we're playing for $1,000 split.
Well, especially when you bring the family, it's like take advantage, turn it into a trip. Like
I'm gonna sleep.
They watch enough pickleball.
No, I mean, no, my family doesn't care about split age. No, and so we had Monday through Thursday off. Went to the beach a couple times. Bankers was living her best life. I took a bunch of photos of her.
Yeah, I saw some of
her on the beach. That's too funny. She had her top off. Bad girl.
She's getting rowdy.
It was so funny, dude. So talk about just characters in pickleball and like pros being maybe a little too accessible at times. But there was it always happens in Florida, and there's always a couple of 60-year-old males that like to hang out with pros, and there's always asking pros a bunch of questions and stuff like that. Anyhow, there was this guy, don't know what his name was. I'm not going to mention his name. He watched me practice on Thursday, Friday, and I mean after I got done practicing, he like stayed after and asked me a bunch of questions, and I mean it was super nice. And then I was at the beach on Monday or Tuesday, and there was this guy like back on like a lounge chair, and there was a girl by herself next to us, and she was getting like, she wasn't getting harassed, but this older guy kept talking to this girl, and it was a little weird because she was in her 20s, he's in his 60s. Come to find out, it was the same guy. It was the same guy that was watching me at practice, and right when I saw him, I'm like, oh my gosh! I'm like, we have to move our stuff. But yeah, he ended up finding me, but yeah, he was like, I mean, I don't know what he was doing with this girl, but he was very friendly, with this girl, and this girl even told us, she's like, do you know this guy? And I'm like, no, do not know. I do not know this guy.
No guilt by association.
I do not know this guy. Anyhow. That's happening more and more, and I just think it's very interesting. And we're in like this interesting time, of like pros being very accessible, and I think a couple years ago, it didn't matter how like accessible pros were. Like it just didn't seem like the love for pickleball and like the fan love was all that great. Like fans see us in a much different light, and 98% of the fans are great. But there's just a little sliver. There's a 2% sliver that just try to take advantage, right?
For sure.
And
it puts you in a tough spot too when you have somebody who's
trying to be a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's a little socially awkward or invading your space, and I've seen this happen to you and others a few times, it's tough to know how to handle it, right? Like, I guess you're getting used to that true celebrity status now.
But anyhow, so saw this man at the beach. But yeah, we had a good time. Took my mom. We stayed like 5 minutes from the venue. We had a pool in our backyard. So it was a nice little family week. There was, there was this little breakfast diner that we went to probably 4 mornings in a row. I can't remember the freaking name of it. If I think of it, I'll let you know. But anyhow, the last couple of years, we've gone to the same place, to that same breakfast place, and it's like right downtown by the beach and super yummy.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. Pro lounge, pro area for championship court, pro 10 on outside court. It's kind of funny. So talk about U.S. Open, best security in the game. Championship court, best security in the game. Remember the story last year?
They don't let anybody.
Tell the story last year about Rafa. you remember Rafa?
No, you're gonna have to remind me. I thought you were talking about me trying to coach you last year.
No. Yeah, that too. No, Rafa last year. So Rafa's playing on championship court, right? You know this.
Okay,
yeah.
I do remember. Yeah, I remember now.
Rafa's playing on championship court. And the security, so Rafa's, I don't know if he's playing men's or mixed.
He goes to get a ball.
Yeah, right. So the ball rolls into VIP. Rafa goes in there, grabs the ball, and the security like taps him on the shoulder. He's like, hey, do you have your VIP badge? Rafa's like, dude, I'm playing.
I'm on court right now.
I'm playing. Anyhow, but no, I guess I walked through the wrong gate. You know, there's like the main gate, and I walked through like the backside. Anyhow, I didn't have my badge, but I said, hey, I'm playing next on championship court. You let me in. So he let me in, and then I took a seat on like the other side of the bleachers. Well, this like security guy came over and he's like, hey, you can't sit here. I'm like, okay, well, where do you want me to sit? He's like, there's a pro area over in the back. So I go to the pro area. Like you can barely even watch the matches. So they like made this little pro lounge.
You can't see.
Right, you can't even see. I mean, yes, there's like snacks and food and stuff there, but and then like later on in the day, this other like security guy comes up and he's like, hey, I hear you've been heckling my security guards. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I've been doing what? He's like, I hear you've been heckling them. I'm like, well, I haven't said anything. And he's like, I hear you've been coming through like the back area. And I'm like, is that like considered heckling? Like what terrible choice of words.
Right.
Like,
right.
no, I'm just I'm simply here to make money and to try to play. Okay. I care less about what's going on here.
Trying to play some pickleball.
I mean, for God's sakes, leave me alone. I mean, top security in the game.
Man.
Just stop it.
Nightclub
Stop
vibe.
it. I'm not going next year. I'm just kidding.
US Open doesn't mess around. You better get VIP.
I mean, God.
VIP badge for you to play the tournament.
And the silly thing too is that
is it pretty pricey the VIP area?
It's not cheap.
It must
for
be.
Sure.
It must be.
To me,
they're protecting it like that.
To me, it's just a cash grab. It's a complete cash grab. What I thought was kind of crazy too is that there's all these VIP boxes around championship court,
right?
And the stands are full, and there's nobody in the boxes. They're empty. So. And pros are like, I saw pros trying to jump in the boxes, and then like within 5 minutes they're getting yanked out.
Picturing the
literally, you can't make it. You can't make it more than 5 seconds.
It's like lifeguard on duty. Nope,
you're out.
Get him out.
Like a taser. Oh my gosh! But always a fun tournament. I mean, honestly, like. Everybody's drinking on championship court. It's super loud. It's very condensed. I mean, definitely one of the
party atmosphere
for sure. Yeah, one of the better courts in pickleball. How I did as far as playing, won a couple rounds in singles. Ended up losing to Frederico. Guy's a complete stud.
A lot more dangerous
for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
of course. Ended up losing in 3, and then let's see. Ended up taking bronze in mixed. We Catherine and I won our first, I think, 3 or 4, played Simone and Ben in the semis. Kind of a crazy chain of events. Simone and Ben in the quarters were down a match point against Deckel and Viv. It was like 10-8 game 3. And Ben did Benny things. What do you think? He found a different notch, ended up fighting off. And actually, too, I'm pretty sure, like, oh yeah, I was watching the match, just praying that Deckel and Viv
come through.
Deckel and Viv were going to win. And yeah, I think Deckel hit a drop that came in at a long point. I think Deckel like sped up and the ball hit the tape, rolled. I mean, anyhow, it was this long drawn out point, and they ended up losing the point. Ben and Simone ended up fighting back and won 12-10. But yeah, lost to Ben and Simone. I don't know, 8-4 in the semis. Ben played well. Simone definitely like the best I've seen her play in a long time. And then we dropped down, beat Matt and Lucy to get into the bronze. And then who did we play? We played Rye and Lindsay.
Yeah.
If you can beat the Newmans at the U.S. Open with that dirty defense of theirs,
you're doing something right.
Doing something right. We ended up fighting off 2 match points, down 8-10, game 3. Sweats just literally pouring out of my shoes, like any like step that I had on the court, sweat's just like flying out of my shoes. So bad.
It's been a while since you played with Catherine.
Too, right? Yep. Makes life pretty easy when Catherine's playing that well.
She's playing well these days.
Yeah, for sure.
Been very consistent every time.
And like not a lot of offense, you know, but doesn't miss a drop, doesn't miss a ball when she's cleaning up in transition, dinks super aggressively, and then just like, I mean, Rye came at her a ton, or Linz came at her a ton, she'd slide, use that two-hander, but dinks well, drops well, doesn't miss a ball, counters well.
No, you're right. Yeah, she's pretty simple, kind of different.
But yeah, not a whole lot of offense. Like no offense off the bounce.
Kind of a jack of all trades a little bit.
Yeah,
but
for
you're
sure.
right, not a lot of weapons. But I think she counteracts spin as well as anybody too. Like she really knows which shot to go with in the tool bag with whatever's thrown at her. Like you said, if you can move the ball around, you can put the ball in unattackable positions for your opponents, and you don't need to have the put away shot sometimes. If you can continue
what was that saying of yours? Work the edges.
Work the edges.
Tell the viewers what that is. Work the edges, baby. I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah, if you can just put the ball slightly in a less attackable position, the percentages start to tip in your favor. I liken it to like basketball. I played a lot of basketball growing up. You know, somebody has a catch and shoot 3-pointer, way higher percentage than trying to create your own shot off the bounce, right? It's not that somebody can't speed up a ball when they're darting to the edge, but it's much tougher to set your shot up, execute, be ready for the counter versus a ball just hit right to you a couple of times. You can start to build your play and your percentages for attacking go way up. So if you're moving the ball around with that aggressive placement, you can kind of play a style that favors you if you're not as aggressive of a player yourself.
Yeah. So many points at the U.S. Open in dubs too. Like you're, in like a 6-ball hand battle. Somebody blocks, turn it into a soft game, throws up a lob, run back, hit like a perfect drop off the lob because the ball's so slow. Come in, get back established, hands battle. I mean, these unrealistic points. There's no way this stuff makes sense with a Duraball.
Definitely favors variety,
for sure.
And it makes it really fun to watch. I mean, for me, I don't particularly enjoy playing it. I like
it great to watch.
Really entertaining to watch. Everybody's got to just draw deep in their bag of tricks.
Pull it out. A lot of lobs.
Everybody's throwing the lob. And people that never lob are throwing it. Let's see what happens.
We played, Wright and Lucy, and I was talking this morning. I probably lobbed Matt like 8 or 10 times.
That's the ticket.
Make him feel his age.
Keep him off the kitchen line.
So won bronze in mixed, and then made a bronze match in men's. Played with my man Loong, who literally just lives off of sugar. I mean, how he does it, I have no idea. The guy has a terrible diet.
Tournament routine.
I mean, he's a specimen. I mean, he's long, lanky. Yeah, I mean, he's drinking Coke at noon. I mean, literally, he's drinking Coke and eating sugar straws. I couldn't believe it.
It's funny, and he looks like a fitness model.
I mean,
right?
I'm right.
He's super fit looking. It's
crazy
on the outside.
He took his shirt off in North Carolina, and he said he had just started lifting like last month. The guy's yoked.
And he's already pretty jacked.
I'm like, you haven't lifted your whole life, and you started lifting the last month, and you look like that. Like, teach me how.
Genetics, man.
Please,
genetics.
He's a stud. I mean,
you guys always seem to play well together. Yeah, you always seem to be driving.
We let's see, we made the semis. Actually had a decent look in one game against Ryan Matt. Lost in 2 and dropped down. Beat Deckel and Stone. Good win, like 15-10, sure. And then played Kohler and Wilson and ended up losing like 8-8 or something like that. But yeah, so Lunger's a stud, man. Cool dude, quirky as could be, but love him. North Carolina, lifetime facility, super nice. Taught a camp there as well. Indoors, pristine, no wind.
Beautiful spot.
Love it.
We'll take indoors any day.
We'll take indoors any day, baby.
Sick of battling the elements.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, love the lifetime facilities. Easy venues to play at. 5-star bathrooms or 5-star restrooms. I mean, if you have a 20-minute break, you can use the steam. You can use the dry. You can hop in the hot tub, take a shower, and boom.
It's good to see them embracing pickleball. It's only going to help the sport grow, and they're such pristine facilities.
Yeah,
pretty cool to see it showcased at that stage.
PPA crushed it though. It was a little tight and a little compact in there, but as always, very professional. I thought PPA did a great job and kept the flow moving. Always a little tricky when the venue is that tight and they have VIP and they have VIP people and stuff like that because they try to pack all the matches on championship. So if you're winning, usually the day's a little longer, but it's all good. kind of funny. There was this old guy walking around. Another old man story. There's this old guy walking around. He had like super long, stringy hair, and literally, like, I talked to probably 10 or 15 people there. Nobody understood a word he was saying. Nicest guy, and like
he spoke English, but it was just
broken, mumbling. Gigantic beard, like his mustache was growing over his mouth. Yeah, totally. And he was just walking around, just like, what are you saying? Yeah, nobody even knows what he was saying.
Was he a pickleball guy?
We have no idea. I mean, it looked like he was off the street. He was having a good time. He was watching pickleball. He was there all day, every day. Watched all my matches. Kind of funny.
Pickleball grows. You guys converted one more.
Hey,
might be a little quirky.
Get the man a paddle, okay? Throw him in the tournament.
He caught the fever.
I will pay for his entry fee. It's charged. Okay, put it on my account. Take it out of my check.
Give him a paddle. Let him free. He's gonna
give him my Skechers shoes. Give him an 002. Throw him out there.
He's ready to go.
Oh, it's too funny.
He's ready to go.
I would assume that if there's people that were at North Carolina that are watching this episode, they're gonna like that I
they're gonna remember him. They're gonna remember him.
He was all over. He was like the hit of the tournament. He may have been in VIP too, hanging out. Okay, so ended up taking bronze in singles. I mean, anybody could have beat me in that tournament. My oh my!
Who did you lose to there?
I lost to Julian, and then beat a couple guys in the back, Charles Smith and Davis, and then played Kutzmeyer in the bronze and beat him in 3. Ended up playing this massive man, Austin something, first round. He should have beat me.
You fought off a match point?
Off a match point. Yeah, he missed the backhand at the line by like a half a foot, and then I crawled back in, slithered back in. But yeah, just definitely did not play my best. Ended up taking 4th in mixed. Lolo and I made the semis and lost to Ryan Catherine. Dropped down, ended up losing to Julian, who was playing well the tournament. Talk about start of the tournament. Guy's got a ton of upside. Ended up losing to freaking Julian in singles, lost him in mixed, and then Lung and I ended up playing dubs together, almost lost first round. Like I said, anybody could have beat me first round in this tournament. My, oh my. We made the semis, played Scarpa and Greg, beat him in 3, lost game 1, and then beat him like 2-1. Played Ryan Matt in the finals, and woulda, shoulda, coulda. Won game 1. We're up like, what, 9-5 game 2. I think we're up like 9-6 game 3. And then we get kind of rolled in game 4, but should have won game 2. I mean, we're up 2 games to love. It's a brand new ball game come game 3. But Lung played really well. I played the left and played nice and aggressive. Probably one of my better performances of the weekend. I ended up teaching on that Monday after, and honestly, it made that weekend so much better, and it made just staying and teaching a camp so much better, knowing that I actually performed and I like acted like myself in the finals.
When you're a little more bold too.
Yeah, right. For sure. Grow some cojones.
I mean, you were speeding up. You were lobbing over Matt.
Right.
You even sped up cross court a couple times successfully against Riley, which is always pick your moments against the pancake. Right. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where in your game, you know what you do really well, but against those elite teams, you've got to vary the patterns just a little bit more to have success.
Yeah, for sure. So
what would you say to the viewers at home, Tyson? So you said, you had a couple tournaments you're feeling pretty confident. Yeah. Others, you're like, anybody would have beat me that day.
Yeah,
just totally didn't have it. Is there anything in your preparation that was different, or just sometimes you just have one of those days?
Yeah, I think, like looking at next year, I'm definitely taking time off. I think that's necessary. I think I'm just a little grinded down this year. I think Zane Navatil, we had the same discussion. He's probably in the same boat, like teaching and all the above. And, we tack on kids and some other things going on. And anyhow, so I think big thing for me was, I wasn't all that hungry going in. It wasn't all that competitive. You take a look at my emotions. I mean, even playing that Austin dude, there's this clip that I saw. It's game 3 and I'm down 9-10. He ends up missing a pass up the line. It's match point and there's no come on from him. I mean, literally, I had zero energy. Right. No, I was just kind of floating out there.
Yeah, I think both you and Zane are little Energizer bunnies, but everybody needs to recharge every now and then, right?
And
a lot on your plate.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, I think a big thing that I've been dealing with is I just have a little too much going on. I'm going to try to simplify and scale things back for next year, and more so just focus on being a better athlete and kicking ass and staying in the top 3. Yeah, I think big thing for me is that I probably fight better than most.
Yep.
Mentally, I feel like I am, tougher than most. And so when I don't have that inner dog or that inner grit, or if I don't want to compete, if I'm not hungry, like I have a hard time finding it. And I'm talented, but I think what puts me in the category and what keeps me in the category is my added grit. Yep. So, I think that, and as with anybody, right? If you're not feeling it, or if there's something that really lights your fire, that like allows you to play well, if you can't bring that, and there's no plan B, stuff.
I think it's important because it's always going to be, or usually going to be, a different answer for different people.
For sure.
Right?
Right. Exactly.
I was in sales for a long time, and one thing we would always talk about is, to get motivated, what's your why? Like, what's your reason? What's your main motivation for being out here and going through the trenches? And so I think pickleball competing similar, right? Like before you start a tournament, what's your why? What's your main reason for being out there? Loving to be out there, expectation of winning, but kind of knowing why you're there and embracing competition. But I think when you play a ton of tournaments, when you've got so much on your plate, your motivation can be spread kind of thin after a while.
So true. So true.
So know your why.
Know your why. No, and that's funny you mentioned that, because like I told you, I've been talking to this gentleman who's been helping me out a little bit, maybe a sports psychiatrist, and basically something we've been chatting about is, hey, like, what's your priorities? Yep. Like, what is your why? Because like when I'm on the road and I'm traveling, all that stuff, like sometimes I'm so scrambled, I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like,
you're just doing the task in front of you.
I'm just doing the task in front of me. But at the end of the day, like when you wake up, why do you do it? What are your, what are your priorities? And I think, big thing is doing it for the family, taking care of the family, doing it for myself, doing it for my businesses. And like you get, when there's no break, or you don't have time to recharge, or there's no reset, it's tough to really find the why, right? Yeah,
sometimes just a reminder of your core reason.
Get through the cobwebs and
for putting yourself through it.
Exactly. So, okay, so let's see here. Charlotte was a great city. We ended up running a camp on that Monday, Tuesday after. We ended up going, where was that little dinner spot? It was like a little brewery, but place was yummy. Also, we ended up going to this Korean barbecue place, and probably my most favorite food is Korean barbecue. And on that Sunday,
you said it was fire.
Oh, it was so fire. Yeah, we got like the Wagyu special, so it was a little spendy, but I was so bummed. All that Wagyu meat is just silly. My God, I don't know how long they age it, but it's so stupidly good.
You and I with
Pierre, and yeah. No, we ate like kings. I mean, my oh my. But it was called like Mau, but it was like right downtown Charlotte. Charlotte's a badass city. We had a great time. The cool thing too was that the Lifetime was the partnered hotel was literally on the same street as Lifetime, and also on this street was like a clean juice place. There was like a restore where you can get IVs, you can use compression boosts. There was a haircut.
Walk around literally like everything you need.
I taught my kids camp on that Wednesday. We had like 20 or 24 kids, and then after I went and got a haircut. I walked 2 businesses down. I went and got an IV, and then I walked across the street and got a juice, and then just walked home. Literally, everything was on that street.
It's just Tyson's corner right
so
there.
Nice.
All the things you need, right?
Whatever you needed, right there. Hotel was on the same street. Anyhow, I had 40 campers. Had a great time. Had Pierre K-Mack here. What does Devin call you? The Mack?
I think he just calls me K-Mack.
Oh, okay. I thought he calls you the Mack or something like that.
Maybe. Can't keep track of it. The Mack.
The Mack. But yeah, have my buddy Devin, Pierre, K-Mack, Scarpa. Scarpa. Talk about Scarpa's game.
Yeah, so it was fun.
The old 9 o'clocker.
We got some games in, Pierre, Devin, myself, and Scarpa. And I hadn't, I'd seen Scarpa's name, and you've talked highly of him, but hadn't played against him. And I learned pretty quickly that stay away from the backhand. It's very open. The paddle face is very open. So visually, some of his attacks are a little bit more disguised. Yeah, right. But he can pick balls up off his shoelaces all day long. He's similar to you. And that way he gets the tip down really, really well. But with that grip, if you go over to the forehand side, it's pretty close. So if you can get the ball down or get that ball to bounce on that side, definitely makes him a little bit more uncomfortable. Yep. It's funny how, we all have our different quirks. We all have the shots we love and the ones we try to avoid, right? And it's
hide your stuff.
A little bit different for everybody,
Yeah, right.
Hide those weaknesses.
I saw you working that tip down backhand today.
I'm trying to make changes.
Get that thing down. Okay, 6 to midnight. Here.
I'm sick of you picking on my left foot. I got to be able to dig the occasional ball out.
Something that was mentioned during the camp was AJ special. Speed up 6 o'clock, clean up 12 o'clock, 6 to midnight.
It works.
It works,
right?
It works.
Ball goes up.
Works on court, works in the bedroom.
New T-shirt idea.
New T-shirt idea. Coming out next.
Come get McGuffin. 6 to midnight.
Get your merch box. Okay, ATL. Terrible week for me. Get me out of that hotel. So, and actually, like this was the first tournament. I mean, this year where I trained my ass off. After North Carolina, flew home. Got home Tuesday night. Scarpa, Jake, and Gregor flew in Wednesday night, stayed in this little side shop, and stayed for a week. We played 4 or 5 hours a day, played a shit ton of pickleball, right? And anyhow, Scarpa ended up getting sick a couple of days in. Then my kids got sick and all the above. Anyhow, I thought I had left before all the sickness. Ended up getting to Atlanta like Monday night. Practiced Tuesday with Loong and Dan Granat. Felt fine. Woke up Wednesday. Train had hit me. Went to the doctor. Come to find out I had bronchitis and a bunch of stuff. But I was literally on my deathbed for a couple of days.
Did you go down by yourself? Or did the family go with you?
No. So my wife ended up showing up to my pathetic ass.
Came and rescued you.
No, she was gonna come anyhow, but she ends up showing up like Thursday night. I'm just all curled up in bed, like crampy, cold.
Take care of me.
My God, just pathetic. So I mean, it was a terrible week. Had to cancel my kids' clinic. Couldn't play. Tried to play with Loong on Saturday. Played 2 matches, won both matches in 3, scraped by, and then basically like body just breaks down, goes into full body cramps. I'm like puking after. I mean, that was a fucking mess. It was such a mess. Yeah, and then it was no bueno. And then Cam gets rained out. So no, it was not cool. But happy to be home. And the ATO was a big grand slam, so there was a lot of points there. Killer venue. PPA looks like the courts were done a little differently this year. Championship court, they like brought in the VIP section. Championship court wasn't as big, which makes sense because anytime championship court is too big, all the pros do is just chase balls around the whole time. It's such a pain in the ass. They've got to fix that. I mean, whether it's US Open or like. I can't tell you how much time is wasted on a championship court chasing balls down or like looking for balls under the bleachers. I mean, where are we in this sport?
I was going to say maybe Sherry has something to do with it. He wants a big court,
right?
Give himself a little extra time. He'll kick the ball around a little bit.
Talk about that singles match.
No, yeah. So it was Charlotte, right?
Sherry and Julian.
And I think Sherry Julian, great match. I believe it
Gators.
I believe it went 5, but I think Sherry even in the post-conference interview was even talking about how he was, using some of the veteran tactics of buying himself a little more time when he was gassed or winded. And all the commentators are like, if this thing goes 5, I just don't know if Sherry's going to have enough in the tank. But we've seen him draw energy from, he can dig deep.
Rafa's the same way.
He can get hot.
Yeah.
And
fall from the same tree.
For sure.
They fall from the same tree. When the occasion comes up, they will rise.
They've got like a different compartment of energy for big matches, right?
Sure.
They know how to step it up big time. Throw Rafa some love.
Come on.
Rafa
played
probably
well.
Just about the biggest singles draw I've seen. 50 plus people.
Yeah.
I think Rafa
didn't have the top dogs, but
yes, 4 or 5 guys, but a lot of players and some solid players for sure.
Of course.
But I think he was like the 23rd seed.
Went through Sincola. Little controversy there. Won like 12-10, game
12-10
3.
in the third. Yeah. Definitely dicey over line calls and all that. But to me, like I've played Rafa a bunch. I've played Sincola. Yeah. Like I've missed calls. I'm sure. I know people have missed calls on me.
Right.
Like it happens, but credit to Rafa for battling through to get a silver. I mean, and he played a very respectable match. Had his chances against Frederico's been playing some great ball lately.
So Rafa's up, Rafa's down 2 games of love.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Wins
he lost
2 in a row.
First couple pretty fast.
And then he's up 7-3, game 5.
Yeah, I think 7-3, 7-4, somewhere in that range. And then Frederico got hot to finish it. But, you know, we're singles guys. We've always been a proponent of, you know, return and come in. You know, Rafa found a different way. He was staying back a lot, but making it work. And we're talking about this morning. If you're a singles person and you're wondering, you know, when can I stay back? I think the theme that I've noticed is if you are going to stay back, you usually want to hit a flatter, bigger return. Right. If you're slicing and staying back, it's probably not going to work out for you. But if, you know, I think we're both still believers, get to the net when you can for sure. But if you are going to return and stay back, you usually need to hit a bigger, flatter return and then, you know, look to maybe get inside the court after that.
Right, for sure. Yeah, see, so Rye and Catherine won 2 in a row, one mixed in North Carolina, mixed in Atlanta.
Yeah, they're running well.
Rye and Matt beat Ben and Colin first time.
Did you watch any of that match?
I did not.
So pretty different.
I know Ben and Colin had game points first 2 games.
Yeah, just the tactics, I would say. So I think for the whole match, I believe Matt was on the right, Riley was on the left.
Yep.
And Matt went
at Ben a decent amount, right?
A lot. Yeah, a lot. And, you know, different speeds, different locations. And the stat I heard about not long ago is the first time you speed up at Ben to the backhand, he usually blocks. And I was seeing a lot of that as well. I mean, Matt was, you know, flicking him higher, slower. Ben was usually just blocking back. But they kept the pressure pretty relentlessly on Ben to not allow him to disconnect and get quite as comfortable. And Ben did fine.
Right.
But just that tactic seemed to make them just a little more uncomfortable. So it'll be interesting to see from an X's and O's standpoint what adjustments Ben and Colin make, because the strategy of just grinding Colin down just hasn't really been working for most teams. Sure. Colin is such a good specialist on that side, and it allows Ben to play so much freer. I think not being afraid of Ben, making Ben play a lot of balls early, being willing to attack him definitely was a tactic that seemed to be effective.
What percentage of the time did Benny block versus punch on the first speed up? Like, I mean, half?
Half or so. Okay. I mean, I would say maybe even blocked a little bit more because, you know, Matt was going back behind him, you know, and so when you're on the stretch like that, Matt has good hands. It's tough to counter that first one. But yeah, just the variety, and obviously it didn't work every time, but again, just being willing. We've talked about this in camp. You're a big proponent.
Bold.
Don't lose the same way, right?
Like, for sure.
Driving home, say I played one strategy, it didn't work. Like just being willing to change things up. They've lost the same way or similar way multiple times. It's like you have nothing to lose, and they've got a lot of ability, a lot of styles they could potentially play effectively.
Yeah, and then game 4, they're up 9-0.
Which is crazy.
Ben and Colin roar back.
Chipped back. Talk about the mental toughness, too, because, I mean, to be up, I think you were right.
Yeah,
I think it was 9-0. I couldn't remember if it was 9-0 and then 1. But yeah, to lose that and then come back in game 5. And just and they stuck with it. They continued to speed up. They felt like the patterns were still working. So they didn't go away from it, but that takes some experience.
No, for sure.
Some mental toughness
to swallow that down.
Not implode in game 5 after losing that lead.
Totally. Annalie crushed in singles, beat Leia 2-0 in the semis, and then beat Catherine in 3.
Yeah, and I mean,
girl's good.
And a pretty decisive 3. And I would say over the last year or so, just the one matchup that can push Annalie on a consistent basis, I think, has been Catherine, because she has the variety. She can match her, in my opinion, for foot speed and some of the intangibles on the court. But lately, she's been separating the distance between them in singles as well. So, who's gonna touch Annalie?
No, for sure.
She might be going through a stretch similar to Ben, where Ben was super dominant for a while. Annalie might be right in the middle of that for the next couple of years.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I would say that Atlanta Lifetime facility, that club is partnered up with USTA, so it's like a USTA training facility. So I don't know how many tennis courts there are, but there's like 20 or 30 places. Place is gorgeous, and championship court. It's like this big, massive bowl. The backdrop has these gigantic oak trees. Place is killer.
Yes,
place is killer. You know, it's funny too, like
one of the better
driving in Georgia, like literally like the trees.
It's just lush.
I mean, the trees are like growing over the freeway. I mean, literally, like Lung and I played at this on Tuesday. I played with Dan too. We ended up playing at this like private tennis club Like any venue that I've played at in Georgia, it's like driving on a freeway. I mean, literally, trees are just growing over you. Like, yeah, there's just, it's so lush and green and humid. My God, just stop.
There's just always moisture in the air.
Stop.
Something's growing. Something's growing somewhere.
My oh my.
Oh, the humidity.
But okay, the French Open. I've been waking up early watching some tennis. God, some of the drop shots and like the craftiness and the ability to add variety and. I mean, just like the level of tennis is sick, and seeing the movement, seeing the sliding. Yeah. You have to be one athletic specimen if you want to win at the French Open. Who's that chick that hasn't lost in 3 months? Iga
Swiatek or whatever.
I mean,
Swiatek, yeah.
She looks so good. She played like an American girl yesterday, and like she was up 6-0, 3-0, and just crushing. In the
her forehand's pretty.
In the post-match interview, the commentator asked her if she was feeling sorry for her opponent. I mean, that's pro level tennis, and the gal she played was like top 40.
Right.
I mean,
feel sorry.
I mean, talk about somebody who's hot.
Yeah.
But sick match to watch. Alcaraz was playing another Spaniard dude. Spaniard guy was up 2-1. Had a match point. Had a match point game. Set 4, couldn't close it. Alcaraz came back, won set 4, and then won in the 5th. But talk about probably one of the biggest monstrous forehands in the game, and not only does he move well, thumps a forehand, but like fights like he's been doing it for how long. I mean, the guy's like so mature, and he's 19 years old, and like holds his composure well, like uses his emotions at the right time, uses his energy at the right time, doesn't overdo it. The guy.
I'm glad he's still in it because he could potentially knock off one of the big boys. So with you watching, who you picking? Male and female?
I mean, Rafa's my guy.
Tough to pick against
Rafa's my
Nadal
guy.
for sure. Yeah.
Rafa's my guy.
Finish on the same side.
Come on. Yeah, I mean, Rafa, Joker, or Alcaraz.
Yep.
Women's side, Iga. I mean, yeah, she looks good.
She looks untouchable right now.
Yeah. There's this funny. So Stan's back playing. Wawrinka, which is great to see. I mean, seeing that one hander is a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. But Stanley, he's got a little sass. He is Swiss. He is Swiss. But anyhow, the water at the water that he was drinking, apparently, like they had like a little cooler back behind like where they're sitting, and anyhow the water was too cold, and there's this clip that's floating around, and basically he's like yelling at the chair ump, and he's telling the chair ump that the water's too cold. He's like the freaking water's too cold. Anyhow, we wanted like lukewarm water, and it was kind of funny. But all
right, PPA and APP,
lukewarm water.
Take note.
Hey,
don't bring people to
don't put ice in my water.
Take care of the pros.
Don't put ice in my water.
Room temperature water.
Yeah. But to me, this is the best slam in the world. I was always a big fan of Clay when growing up.
You like watching the dog fights.
I like watching the dog fights. I do.
Long, gritty points. No wonder you've won the U.S. Open.
It's probably the most. It is like Clay. You're right. It is like Clay. Let's see here. UFC knockout of the year. Michael Chandler was fighting Tony Ferguson, and
what weight class are those guys?
Yeah, so it's lightweight. Or it's 155. But Michael Chandler, probably one of the more exciting fighters in the UFC. Used to be a Bellator guy, and Tony Ferguson won the first round. Like 10 seconds into the second round, Michael Chandler like throws this up kick, and I'm gonna just show K-Mac the photo real quick. Hang on, real quick here. I mean, it was just disgusting. I've never seen somebody's face get like contorted like that.
Seems like the knockouts that come from kicks can be the most brutal.
Just
sometimes.
Zoom in on that.
My gosh, no way. Boom. He looks like he's 150 years old.
I know.
The skin is just falling off the bone.
Like direct hit, like toes under the chin.
Literally right on the chin.
Sad thing was that, look, he was out for like 15 minutes. Like he wouldn't. It was scary. It was scary.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah. Geez, look at that guy's leg. He is yoked.
Yeah, no.
Gosh, yeah.
But yeah, There's some fights coming up next Saturday. I'll be definitely watching. So much sports going on right now. NBA basketball, UFC always, French Open. Yeah, I mean, I watched Golden State last night, beat Dallas, and they
did close them out.
Won the series. Yeah, Luka was hot for he didn't play well. He scored like 25 points, but his shooting percentage was like 25%. Anyhow, he went on a run, and it's crazy how much offense there is in the NBA too. Like how many times this year is a team down by 20 at halftime, and then they end up winning by 20. I mean, it's crazy. Like I think a score.
You're never out. In the first half, like you're never out.
Yeah, Luka scored 12 points in like 2.5 minutes, and they were down by 20, and all of a sudden, like they're down by 8. Man, it's crazy how that works. These guys are so talented.
I'm a big Luka fan, but just I'd watch those two teams play a couple times in the regular season, and to me, the ball movement of Golden State just gives them such a big edge.
Right, of course.
Like it's more,
Luka's kind of a one-man
it's
show.
more isolation,
For
right?
sure.
You have to work that much harder for your buckets when he makes them, and they look amazing.
Yeah, right. But it looks so complex.
It's tough over
Step
the
back.
course. Yeah. I mean, versus a couple of good passes, drive and kick, step up.
Drive and kick,
catch and shoot 3. But Golden State's looking like the old Golden State a little bit.
So Boston's up 3-2.
I believe so. Yeah, I know it was 2-2. Did Boston win the last one?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Seems like it might go 7. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Let's see.
But I'd like to see Boston Golden State. I think that'd be a good matchup. I think they've got enough tools, enough pieces.
For sure. Miami is like it's kind of like Dallas. Like Butler's just a one-man show, and Butler was hot the first couple games. He hasn't been hot the last couple games.
Yeah, I don't think they have enough overall pieces to compete with Golden State. I do think Boston could though.
Yeah.
They have enough weapons.
Yeah,
They're
Brown,
athletic enough.
Tatum. Yeah,
Tatum's looking
smart.
Yeah,
Marcus Smart. Okay, check out my merch. You guys can go to my website, check out my merch, or you can check out my merch shop on Instagram or on Facebook. Got some cool stuff out there. And if you guys want to attend a camp, I'll be selling merch at camps as well. We have a camp coming up in Coeur d'Alene next weekend. For all you campers out there that are coming to the Coeur d'Alene camp that are listening to this podcast episode, if you guys want gear, do not have me send it. Buy your merch, buy your lifestyle apparel. Once you get to the camp, we'll have a little demo table with a bunch of stuff there. If you guys are coming to the Coeur d'Alene tournament this July, I'm gonna have my 8-year-old son run a little vendor booth, or he's gonna run a vendor table, I guess, and he's gonna have all my merch there as well. So if you guys are playing the Coeur d'Alene tournament, we'll have a bunch of TM merch there, and Ty will be wheeling and dealing. Oh yeah, Ty and Sky, and we'll throw K-Max kits in too. Okay, we'll give him 20%. Okay, we'll give him 20% of the profit. Put them to work.
They don't need a lemonade stand. Give them some merch. We'll make it happen.
Let them go. Ways to follow me. You can follow me on IG, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, or my newsletter that gets pushed out every Thursday. K-Mac, if you don't mind, just give us a quick little spiel, if you can remember, of your little tip. Remember your tip? Or am I putting you on the spot?
You are putting me on the spot. Hold on. I crashed. I got
had something to do with just grind.
Yeah. So it was
what was it?
Yeah, it was be willing to grind. Right?
Be willing to grind.
When you're preparing, to play a tournament match, you're not going to get shortcuts, right? You're not every time, right? You're not going to be able to just get cheap, easy points.
Nice, but
so it's nice, and you want to look for them. But basically, when you're preparing to play, you want to be ready to play the long, slow points. Be mentally tough enough to where you don't panic.
Yep.
At the same time, within that, a lot of times what does get you over the match is paying attention and finding those little gains. So basically, it was about being willing to grind, but be looking for those shortcuts. Because if you can find a shortcut, some weakness in your opponents, that might be the difference in winning 11-9, 11-9 versus losing 11-9, 11-9.
I like it.
Be willing to grind. Pay attention to those shortcuts. They are there, especially at a non-pro level.
They are there.
Even at the pro level, they're there. But at a 4-0 level, you see more and more the lower level that you go down.
Yep. Something that I talk about as well is it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. So, if you don't get too discouraged, or don't throw the match away because you don't start the match out well. I mean, this game's a game of roller coaster. It's a game of momentum. And with that being said, even if you don't start out okay, as long as you clean yourself up and you raise the level and you bring the goods at the right time, that's all that matters. I can't tell you how many matches I've seen, or I can't tell you how many times I've seen pro players not start matches out well, but they're able to find it and they capitalize and they play well late in games and they can win late in games. So
there's no clock.
There's no clock.
Right?
There's no freaking clock. It's a great way to put it. There's no clock. Hang in there. How many times have we been down 110, 111, game to 15? You found one thing that works. You call a timeout at the right time. You climb your way back, and there's no freaking clock. Hang in there.
Well, and the moment you get a little bit of momentum, when you're down, the other team starts thinking about it a little bit more. It's funny how it becomes that perfect storm after a little while. So, you said, happens all the time. Believe.
I've been on both ends. This is a little off topic, but something that we did not mention was, yes, U.S. Open. I just thought of this. Benny fought off a match point against, and this is what he's been doing for how stupidly long, for gosh sakes. Fights off a match point in the winner's bracket quarters against Declan Viv. And then against J-Dub, I thought he was down and out. Ben looked gassed. He looked gassed. He looked like he was dying. That poker, actually, no, that's not a poker face. That face, he looked like he was suffering. J-Dub looked like he was sharp as could be.
No, unbelievable.
Benny, I don't credit me here. Either he fought off one or two match points against J-Dub, and I thought J-Dub had game 2 sealed, and Benny climbed out and showed a lot of emotion. Game 3, a lot of emotion.
No, for sure. I think he knows that there's some guys that
for sure he's lost
pressure him
a couple times
a little bit, but talk about the best pressure player in the world. I mean, tough to take that title from him.
Tough to take it away. Camp's coming up. CDA June 3rd through the 5th next weekend. Just check the weather forecast, and we are looking like it is in the 70s.
Heck
Boom.
Yeah, perfect.
Come on.
Perfect.
Like it. So weather looks good. Going to have K-Mack or the Mack, Mark Milliner, Pierre. Who else we got? Rich Love. And
Goebbels.
Goebbels
is
Maddie G is coming out.
Teach people
to show out
how to flick.
That's right. How to hop on the horse and flick. Okay, hop on the horse. That's what.
Get aggressive.
That's what Wes always calls it.
He's on the horse.
Hop on the horse. Hop on the horse. The old Oregon funk.
It's kind of perfect.
PPA San Clemente, June 13th to the 14th. After the PPA event, definitely looking forward to that. And then
is that your next tourney?
Next tourney, and then I have 6 weeks off. Oh my gosh!
Look at that. What are you gonna do with all that time?
I don't know. Just hot tub. Just hot tub.
Straight tub.
And then CNP San Antonio, 13th and 14th. As I'm running my camp, Johnny Sperling will be running a camp at the San Antonio CNP. K-Mac will be in Bend, 18th and 19th. And then he'll be in Falmouth. Falmouth, is that how you say it?
Believe so.
Falmouth.
Yeah,
Falmouth, Maine. He'll be
right by Portland.
Yep, 27th and 28th of June. K-Mac had what, 50 something? Or
I think it was 50.
150.
It felt like 150. I think it was 56.
Tell us how hot it was
56 or 57 last year. And it was like 90. I mean, outside it was like 92 and humid, but we were inside with no air conditioning. And people were, there were a few little sweat droplets dripping all over the place. So, we'll have to modify that this year. Get some fans in there for the campers.
Sir, you're very moist.
There was definitely a few puddles that we had to attend to throughout the camp. So, there's always a curveball. Always
a curveball. And then, hey, we posted a new instructional video. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called Using Too Much Wrist. We are posting videos each week. We're doing 2 pod EPs each month. And I'm going to start kind of branching out and doing some other different type of content on my YouTube channel. So appreciate all my subscribers. Appreciate all my followers. K-Mac, any last thing here for the viewers out there?
No, man. Just like I said, happy to get another one of these episodes in. We've got a busy June, so we'll see you guys at some of the camps.
Busy June. Okay, my name is Tyson McGuffin. This is the McGuffin Show.